Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Real Podcast, Facebook Live edition. I'm your host, David Moy, and today we have a special guest, Ryan Grant. Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, Dave, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So Ryan and I met through a mutual friend and currently doing some fun stuff together in regards to, well, this is one thing for sure. This is going to be a fun episode. But for those people who don't know who you are, maybe they're listening or maybe from other side of the country or whatnot, give them a little snippet as to, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, so I run a region for Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. I'm based out of Irvine, so I run my own personal production team, which is the Ryan Grant team, and then I run my branch and then a pretty significantly sized region all kind of throughout Southern California and different parts of Nevada.
Nice. Fantastic. Yeah. And what got you into mortgage? What kind of spurred that inspiration to get into mortgage?
Yeah, I wish there was some great story around it. It was motivating and moving, but I was going to be an attorney and I was going to go to law school. And I just didn't have any money to pay for law school, so I had to find a job. And my future brother-in-law at the time called me and told me how he started the mortgage company and made a bunch of money in his first month. And so I was just like, okay, what's a mortgage and where do I call? And that was kind of it. And I'd become disenchanted with the legal system, so I didn't really want to get back into it anyway. So I just figured, hey, I'll try this for a while. I really ended up, enjoying it. And I kind of evolved over time from just being just like every other mortgage originator to something that we're very proud of and that's very unique today. And that was a long journey, but we're excited with where we are and excited with where we're headed.
So you said it was a long journey. When did that journey start for you?
So technically I started in 2005. I always considered I've had two careers. I've had like the call center, refinance, just turn and burn type career, which was very common and very normal back in the mid 2000s. And then market crashed. I kind of did some things, management, tried some other stuff, all within the mortgage industry. And then 2011 is when I feel like I really started my career. I kind of stopped my job in the industry and started my career, which was a business card and no past clients, no partners, no connections, and kind of went out and grew our business based upon relationships.
Wow.
Then we really focused a lot on the consumer experience and creating a higher level of service for the consumer, which helped elevate us. And then, what really helped take us to where we are today is just driving more value to the consumer and really thinking about the missed opportunities we create in our own marketplace with real estate agents and lenders. And we've really worked hard to fill that void.
Nice. So in 2011, that's when you said you transitioned from a job to a career.
Right.
I've been in real estate mortgage myself in this industry, and I've seen the market shift and turn. And that's awesome that you were able to also pivot and really create something meaningful for yourself. How was the beginning, if you don't mind sharing with us, like what kind of activities were you doing? What were you seeing that was just like, man, this is a tough journey, especially in 2011. How was that looking for you?
Well, I was just like everyone else, right? I was just every other loan officer. I just happened to be around more. What people we work with always say, 90% of this job is just showing up, right? Just being in the right place at the right time and doing the right things.
Nice.
I think definitely used to be the case. Probably not so much anymore, but I just met a lot of real estate professionals. We try to do as good as we can with our clients and try to get referrals, but it was really hard to differentiate. There's a really phenomenal book called The Challenger Sale that talks about, if you're not differentiating and you don't have any higher level of value to the consumer, then you are a commodity, whether you want to be a commodity or not. And I would venture to say that most real estate professionals, and when I say real estate professionals, I mean real estate agents and mortgage loan officers, we all are very much commoditized because we haven't found that differentiator, which to us is, we're the most valuable person in our clients' lives when it comes to real estate or finance, along with our real estate partners. So we've really driven hard to make that commitment to our consumers, and our consumers have been the beneficiaries of growing more wealth and saving money and being really smart and planning for the future. So we're excited to change the way that the mortgage industry and the real estate industry is done, and excited to change the perception of who we are to the community.
Are there some things that you can share with us, or is that kind of like a secret recipe?
No, it's definitely not secret at all. We're actually, we actually give it away. It's called The Art of Homeownership.
Okay.
And one of the things we realize is that people have not mastered the art of being a homeowner. Typically, people will buy a home, they'll live in it, and they'll pay for it. And there's nobody helping them understand all of the ancillary benefits and ways to utilize it and protect it and grow wealth from it, and plan for the future around it, generational wealth planning. And so we've created a platform that allows the consumer to get all that value and to have a home concierge and to help them grow their wealth, and like all these little things that become extremely valuable because we don't teach finance in our society, right? We don't teach real estate in our society. We just teach the bare minimum for people to kind of get by. And so I think that when a real estate agent gives the client the largest asset they've ever had in their life, and then when we give them the largest debt they've ever had in their life, and we both just assume they know what to do from there, it's a very bad assumption, and one that probably sometimes can do more harm than good. So our commitment to the consumer is we're going to help them in a very proactive way for 30 plus years and really make a positive impact in the lives of them and their family, as opposed to just helping them for 30 days and then sending them on their way.
Now, we can jump to this later on as well, or readdress it later on towards the end. But like, if somebody's watching and they're really interested in what you just said, like, where can they find out like this guidebook or this system that you have in place?
Artofhomeownership.com. And if you're a real estate professional, mortgage professional, you can learn all about it. If you're a homeowner or a renter, you can learn about how it can help you, and you can sign up.
Nice.
And so there's no cost to the consumer to sign up and to get all these great services and all this value. But if a mortgage professional, real estate professional wants to be, they basically want to differentiate themselves, and they want to become better and brighter, and they want to, really elevate their career in the way that they're seen from the eyes of their clients, then they can sign up and they can learn about it on a webinar, and they can become a partner on the platform, and there's all that stuff.
That's beautiful. Okay, we'll dive into that towards the end. I think that's something that's super valuable. So, you talked about growing your team. Where are you guys at now in terms of size and volume?
Yeah, so my personal team, there's about 8 people on my personal team. We'll help probably close to 350 to 375 families this year.
Wow.
In terms of volume, it'll probably be about $180 million in funded loan volume.
Beautiful.
And then I run a region that consists of about 56 employees now, and we'll do about $650 million probably by the end of the year.
Nice. And are these out in the field loan originators, or it's just kind of more of like a calls going out to homeowners?
The majority of our originators are all independent teams, right? So that's one of the benefits of joining our region, is that you get to learn how to run your team and grow your team and operate your team just like we do. Nice. So a lot of people have been the beneficiaries of that. We do have some what we call like mortgage advisors who strictly work on the business as it comes in on my team, but everybody's a little bit different in how they run their team. But ultimately, we all have the same mission, right? It's to really have an impact on the lives of the families that we have the opportunity to serve, and not just sell them debt. And I think that's really catching on. It's something a lot of people aren't used to, but something that they're very much appreciative of.
Yeah, that's great how like you said, you've differentiated yourself from others or your competition because of how you're adding value. And then you're also not just adding value to your clients, but you're making this accessible to a lot of other people, which is probably super, super amazing feeling for your team, for your partners, your realtor partners. Would you say that kind of was spawned from your passion, or was it something that just came because of the need, or maybe it's both?
Yeah, it was really spawned out of necessity. Right?
Okay.
I mean, we saw a gaping hole between, the haves and the have-nots. Right? I mean, obviously most people are aware of this, pretty significant income and wealth gap that we have in our country. Mm-hmm. And it's because no one cares to really educate and support and be a guide and really help the average consumer. And so the average consumer has to learn everything on their own, and it's all up to them. And for a long time, I was just adding to that problem, right? I was just selling debt like I thought I was supposed to. But then when we realize the amount of knowledge we have and the amount of opportunities that we get to help families in all sorts of different areas, we should really take more of a stance that that's going to be who we are, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our clients, we're not the number one lending team in Southern California because we have the most advertising, or we spend the most money, or we the absolute lowest interest rate in the world. We're just number one because our clients know that we're going to make them and save them more money than anybody else in their life. That's our commitment to them, and that's something that we want to offer to other real estate and mortgage professionals in their markets as well.
Yeah, that's powerful. And how do you communicate that to them? One, that's the number one question, but the number two is like, how do you communicate that through your people, through your culture, through your team effectively, right? Because that's got to be also something that you're constantly working on every day.
Yeah, we just remove the outcome from the conversation, right? So, if I'm talking to you about, potentially wanting to buy a home or sell a home or trying to figure out your goals in real estate, everyone in our region knows that we don't care what you ultimately do, right? And I don't want that to sound poor, right? But like, I don't care what the outcome of the conversation is. The only thing I care about is that by the time we're done talking, that you're 100% confident in whatever decision you make.
Right.
And if it happens to be that you're going to buy a house or refinance a home or sell a home, then awesome. We'll help you take the steps to make that a reality. And if you decide not to, then we'll develop a plan and a strategy and a timeline to help ultimately get you to your goal. But when we remove the outcome, we stop becoming salespeople and we start becoming consultants and advisors, and this industry really needs.
And that's got to be something that you take care of during hiring. I mean, you could probably ask the right questions to find out if your team is, if that potential team member is going to be somebody that's going to continue with that culture, right?
Yeah, our hiring process is pretty daunting. You go through a phone interview, a panel interview, a final interview. You go through personality profile testing. You do an hour-long written test. I mean, it's an ordeal to get in here.
Now, if somebody is lucky enough to get on your team, do you work with them to to really get them to a certain point of success? Like, how does that look for somebody that's looking to join your team?
Yeah, our number one goal is whenever we hire anybody, from a office manager, receptionist, to a highly successful mortgage originator, our goal is to help grow them not only professionally but personally.
Nice.
So we work a lot on health and wellness and mindfulness and work-life balance, and then we work all the way to the other end of the spectrum to team building and growth and exposure and brand. So everybody knows when they come here that the likelihood that they will, grow professionally and personally is really great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think that's great. You have an opportunity to join, a team that's successful. The culture's great, and you know that you're going to be growing every day as part of that team. As on a personal development level as well. So that's got to be rewarding for you and your team.
It is, yeah. We all have fun. There's a lot of work, and everyone works hard, and it can be stressful at times. But we know we're doing it for a different reason.
Now, if there was somebody who's looking, to get into mortgage or join a team, like, is there any advice you would give them?
Yeah, I would say, whatever you do, whether you're looking to make a change and you're already in the industry, or whether you're looking, to join the industry, my recommendation would be go somewhere that has an absolute track record of improving your system, improving your value of creating a differentiation in your business, because more loan officers and people switch companies, they change companies all the time, and they usually do it because they're unhappy or they feel like they're not getting a good deal, or there's all sorts of reasons, right? But then they just go to whatever other company they go to, and they're the same person at that company, and then the same person at the next company. And so whatever you decide to, if you're going to make a change, then change to become better. Right? Somebody has to commit to you that they're going to help you become better. And most mortgage companies don't do that. Most real estate companies don't do that. They're happy to have you come work with them and be an investor, but there's no commitment to helping you improve.
And what does like a great healthy relationship look like between a lender and a realtor? Like, what I'm trying to get at is if a realtor's listening and watching, it's like, hey, Ryan seems like a great guy, has a great team, great dynamic. What's an ideal relationship look like? When a realtor partners with a lender, because sometimes a realtor may not know, they maybe never experienced an ideal relationship with a lender. What would that look like for you?
Yeah, Tom and I literally just talked about this the other day. Tom's my business development manager, who you guys will probably see on our video challenge coming up here. But we met with an agent, and I just said, it seems like you've never had an actual lending partner, right? You've had lending resources, and you've had relationships with people that you may have liked, that when someone asked, for financing, you would refer to them, and as their resource, they would try and get it done for you. But it sounds like nobody's ever actually been a partner with you and engage with you and helping you grow your business, and collaborating on best practices, and really feeding off each other at a high level, from everything from lead generation to conversion to database management to team building. I mean, across the spectrum. And he says, well, no, because you're the only person I've ever heard about that's done it. That was kind of eye-opening. Like most real estate professionals have never even been offered a partnership, right? They've just a loan officer will come to them and be like, hey, I like you, you like me, let's do lunch, let's hang out, let's be buddies, and maybe you can send me your clients. And that's not, look, we have really great relationships with all of our partners, and we become friends with them, our families hang out together, and we do things together. But the premise of the partnership is we're going to help you grow your business substantially, right? And we're going to do it together. And so I would say for any real estate professional watching this, make sure that your lender you work with is a legitimate partner, one that you're business planning with week in and week out. You're strategizing on next steps and how to improve. And if you go to artofhomeownership.com and click on real estate professionals, on the bottom of the page, there's 10 areas in which a real estate professional will want to improve their business. And the lender should be responsible just as much as the real estate team on improving all those areas.
Wow.
Good thing to know.
Yeah, geez, that's powerful. Yeah, I think you're setting the bar really high, right? Because then every lender has to really dive in deep and really care about their partners and help them elevate their game. Like, okay, how can we help improve what you're doing? How can we help you just grow as an individual? So that's pretty cool. So you mentioned video challenge. Let's talk video. I know you're doing a ton of video. You have on social media. What type of content are you currently putting out there right now?
Yeah, a lot of we have content derived around every topic imaginable. There's the direct to consumer content, right? Which is, rent versus own, move up strategies, retirement planning, anything that the consumer would find valuable, right? Anything from mortgage related stuff to real estate related things to, insurance and all, kind of everything that would encompass a holistic financial picture for the consumer.
Sure.
So we always drive content around that. We drive content towards our partners. So we have real estate professional content. We have, insurance providers, financial planners, estate planning attorneys, family law practices, financial planners. So we drive content to those professionals to get them to realize what a powerful partnership would look like with a mortgage planner. And then we drive content to the industry, right, to other lenders, and talk about what we do and how we do it, and try and give people insight as to what we're doing, because I fundamentally believe that the consumer in the next year or two is going to have a real clear distinction, right? And that's, you can either pick the cheapest service provider, which is a commoditization play, or you can pick the most valuable service provider, which most people haven't figured that out. They think that service equates to value, and service is just service, right? And some service is better than others, some service is amazing, but at the end of the day, value is what equates to the opposite of cost, right? If you're just looking at low cost, then you're going to get something cheap and with less value. But so that's a lot of the content that we're trying to put out, is just try and get people to realize, look, there's different ways you can do this, but the cheap way is rarely ever the appropriate way.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, especially when you're dealing with something so important as home ownership. Value needs to be there for everybody, all the parties involved, for sure.
Very much.
Okay, so cool. That's great. I think that's, you said, again, setting the bar high for everybody, which is fantastic. We're going to talk just a little bit about the 5-day video challenge that we're teaming up with.
Yeah.
Basically bringing some value to your agents. What about that is exciting for you? What are you looking forward to for the challenge?
I think that, I think most people know, or if not, I mean, almost 85% of all content on the internet in the next 5 years will be video.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just excited to help our partners who may have a fear around video, may have a limiting belief around video, may be concerned with, with what they say is going to be, how it will be received, how they look, how they sound. I mean, there's so many things that you hear when you try and teach people around utilizing video for brand exposure or marketing, or simply to relay a message, on a mass scale. So anything we can do to help our partners or other people in the industry to become better at that, to become more confident in it, and to deliver it in a more powerful way, that's just a win, in my opinion.
Nice. Yeah, same here. We're excited. Again, if you're listening, watching, please connect with Ryan or myself to get involved. Basically, we're going to, over the next couple of weeks, we'll be taking several of his partners through this course, this challenge, help them step by step create content right away so they can set themselves up for success in terms of video. So we're excited for that. So a little bit about that. I want to kind of keep that very exclusive to you and your group. So we won't dive into too much more, other than we really do take you guys through this entire process, go through 3 different phases within the video process, kind of like what you were mentioning, right? So you have videos, content that you're creating specifically for audiences, right? So you have your lawyers or your realtors or actual home buyers. Those videos are specifically and strategically done because they're being delivered to specific audiences. So we're going to do the same thing for the realtors, really help them get very specific. And that's pretty exciting for us.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. I'm excited to share that. We'll provide a link below as well if you're interested in joining the group and joining Ryan and Tom with our whole video challenge that we partnered up with. It's a couple more things I want people to know a little bit more about you and kind of dive in with kind of your mindset, if we could, and just your own personal development. Have you always been somebody who's constantly looking to grow, to expand? It looks like you are, but just kind of want to ask that question.
I guess, it's hard to answer that question. I've always been, someone who is felt kind of like a leader, I guess, just because I played a lot of team sports growing up, and I, grew up in martial arts and kind of pugilistic sports, and always had a decently high level of confidence in my ability, right? And so I think, in the real estate and mortgage business, there's the majority of the business is done by a few kind of key select people at the top of the food chain there, and I've always kind of been very inquisitive. So I think less about being a leader and more about just being curious. And so as I became more curious as to what successful people were doing, and became more curious about what I thought the consumer needed, I really just grew out of necessity, right? And so I grew my team because we just were doing more and more business, and I, in order to stay, operating at a high level, we needed to employ more people to help, and then more people learn about what we were doing. And to this point, I really haven't recruited anybody. All of the people that work for us have come to us and asked, hey, we see what you're doing, we'd love to be a part of it. And so I became kind of a leader in the industry because of what people saw, and now I get the opportunity to teach it and kind of give back. And so it's been a really cool journey so far, and one that I think is just tip of the iceberg.
Nice. And the reason I was just asking is just kind of like, if there are, top 3 books or anything like that you've felt were part of that journey along the way, or maybe something that you're reading now that you'd like to share that somebody might want to pick up just because of, your experience reading it.
Yeah. So I'll do kind of one from each category. So from a personal perspective, I would say The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy is probably one of the most powerful books people could read, because it doesn't talk about business. It's a lot about personal life, and no matter where you are in your life right now, it's entirely because of you, right? Whatever habits you formed and whatever you do on a daily basis or don't do on a daily basis. And so the compound effect is something we talk about a lot as a group here, and I think about on a daily basis when I don't want to do something, or I'm too tired to do something, or I feel like, kind of being less disciplined.
Sure.
That book kind of always will speak to me.
Mm.
From a leadership perspective, there are a couple books. One is called Peak by Chip Connolly, which is a phenomenal book about, just leading companies and leading people and doing it the right way. And then Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, a couple Navy SEALs that, needless to say, are very badass in their world.
Yeah.
Extreme Ownership is like the most powerful and magical thing you could ever do, because there's no conflict in it, right? As you're leading and growing an organization, everything is your fault, right? And as soon as you realize that, and everyone else will take ownership on their end. And so that's a great book from a leadership perspective. And I think from a business perspective or tactitional perspective, I think the Challenger Sale is a really great book when it comes to real estate or finance, because most people think that this business is relationship based. And in reality, it actually ranks dead last as to why clients will work with you. It's based upon challenging the assumption of the consumer, because 48% of home buyers have some form of regret within 2 years after buying a home. And nobody actually ever challenged their assessment of what they can or should do, or they ultimately end up doing. So really being more valuable, teaching the client something they didn't know, helping them understand that there's a different way of doing things and looking at it differently, is where the Challenger Salesperson really stands out. So that's a book that I'm reading for the second time back to back right now.
Wow. And now do you listen, or do you read, or both?
Do I what?
Do you listen to the audiobook, or do you read?
I have a hard time listening to audiobooks, just because I'll hear something and then I'll think about it for the next 5 minutes, and then I'll miss the next 5 minutes of the book.
Sure.
So I'm more of if I'm reading, I have a pen and a highlighter, and I earmark the pages, and I kind of dive into it. Because if I go back into the book, I don't want to think at a high level where it was. So I go to the pages, I can see my notes, I can see what I highlighted, and
break it down for yourself. You can go back and reference it. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And I know we didn't ever got to your personal life, but what inspires you every day? Maybe it's your family, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's just what being able to help people every day.
Yeah, I'd say it's a combination of, just being, one of our websites we have out there has kind of like my personal brand story on it. And the thing I talk about is just, I've always tried to show up to really make people proud, right? I started with my parents. I want to make my parents proud, and now I want to make my wife proud and my children proud. And so, I really try and, stand out and be different and think differently, and kind of, just try and be more valuable in the lives of everybody I come across. And that's really driven where we've gotten to. I've always been competitive by nature. And so I think that's where my curiosity comes into play, because I was always curious why I wasn't, the best basketball player, or why I wasn't the best, martial artist. And that kind of drove me to ask questions and figure things out. And so I think it's a combination of curiosity, competitiveness, and wanting to make other people proud.
Nice. Well, in a future conversation, when we have a little bit more time, I'd love to find out what kind of martial arts and what kind of sports you play. That's pretty exciting. Yeah. That's cool to dive into, right? Because I feel like sports really kind of transition very easily into real life, like building teams, communication, confidence, that type of thing. I think that really, the sports really translates well into life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's everything from team building to discipline to hard work and collaboration, all that stuff, for sure.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Now, I know you got to take off soon here, so we'll wrap up. Like, what's your kind of goal for the next 5 years? Where do you guys see yourselves in the next 5 years?
Yeah, the goal is just to, again, continue to change the way that the consumer sees the average real estate mortgage professional, right? We want to really differentiate ourselves. Like I want to create an upset consumer. What I mean by that is, if you're currently living in a home or not living in a home, and you've ever talked to a mortgage professional, a real estate professional, I want you to look at an Art of Homeownership member who is a client or a homeowner who has the Art of Homeownership platform and who belongs to it. And I want you to think, wait a minute, like, why am I not getting all this, right? Why am I not why do I not have a home concierge? Why am I not getting monthly financial analytics? Why am I not getting annual financial reviews? And why is somebody not actively looking over my situation?
Sure.
And so when the consumer gets upset about that, they'll start to demand a higher level of value, and they'll realize that the cheap route might save them a few dollars, but it's going to cost them thousands and thousands of dollars in opportunity and uncertainty and
Right.
missing out on times in life when things should happen. Because we know that when you buy or sell or finance a home, you're just going to look a certain way. Like if you did something today, if you bought or sold or financed a home, I could literally take your picture, I could turn it over, I could write down everything about you on the back of it as of today. 6 months later, it's going to change. A year later, it's going to change.
Wow.
And as that happens, as your life changes and evolves, we don't believe it's up to you to know everything. I believe that we should take an active stance in that. And so that's really all my mission is, right? And I think that will take us to some really great places. And I think it'll give us a lot of great opportunities. And I think that we can grow a really great team around that. But that is the main driver. And then from that, we'll see what happens.
Wow, Ryan Grant, thank you so much. So just real quick, the website's ryangrant.com, right? That's your website?
RyanGrantTeam.com.
And then the Art of Home Ownership.
Yep, artofhomeownership.com is where you can learn more about the platform. And again, if you're an industry professional and you want to become a partner or learn about becoming a partner, you can put in your information and we'll reach out to you. And if you're a consumer, a homeowner, or someone who's renting who may want to buy a home, you can sign up and we'll reach out to you there as well.
Perfect. Ryan, thank you so much for your time. I'm excited to be working with you and look forward to maybe another episode here soon. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Thanks, David. Appreciate your time.
All right. You have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.